Welcome to Tekken 8. The PC version just got its demo released, which means I can finally start recording tutorials on how to play Tekken. The only downside is that I can't go to training mode in the demo, so I can't turn on all the nice numeric displays that training mode has to offer. This is going to be a long video that contains everything you need to know to play Tekken at a reasonably competent level, excluding anything character specific. But it's still going to be quite a mega episode, so let's get started immediately. This first section will be going over movement, because movement is incredibly important in Tekken, especially Tekken 8. The least useful form of movement is walking. You can walk backward and forward by holding left and right. But as you can tell, it is extremely slow, so you want to double tap left or double tap right instead to dash in that direction. And normally I would say that dashes are more committal and risky than walking, but not in Tekken, because I can cancel my dashes whenever I want, both of them. And in fact, even if I don't cancel my backdash, I can still block attacks while backdashing. So there's really no reason to walk in this game unless you specifically want to travel a shorter amount of distance. You can also hold any of the 3 downward diagonals to crouch, and if you hold down forward, your character will slowly crouch walk forward. However, you cannot crouch walk backwards, and you need to make sure you hold the direction, because if you only tap it, your character will do a sidestep, which is not crouching. You can also go the other direction by holding up. Your character will jump up. You can also jump in one of the other 2 diagonal directions. And as you would expect from fighting games, your attacks will change depending on if you're standing or crouching or jumping. However, Tekken is even more complicated in that these all count as stances. So for example, if I press down plus left punch while standing, I get this unique flashy move, but if I crouch first and then hold down and press left punch, I get this duck jab. So I can't just write moves as down plus a button. I have to specify which stance I'm in and then write down plus button. And the same is true for neutral plus buttons. If I let go of the controller and press the same button, I get this standing jab, but if I'm crouching and then I let go and press the button, I get this while rising move, and you can see them in the move list. They're listed as while rising and while crouching moves. So this is a while crouching one, and this is a while standing one, but I'll go over what all those numbers mean shortly. And the final main source of movement is, well, it's a 3D game, so you can also step into the background as well as the foreground by tapping up or down. So movement in all 3 of these dimensions is important for making your opponent's attacks miss, and then as soon as their attacks miss, you can see it and you can punish them on their recovery. And you can make high attacks with by ducking, you can make lower attacks with by jumping, you can make shorter range attacks miss by backdashing, and you can make especially linear attacks miss by sidestepping in either direction, or certain attacks will track to one direction, you'll need to step it the other direction. And there are certain attacks that track to both sides, and specifically in the move list, you can see it as a homing attack. This move, for example, has that blue circle on it. That means it's a homing attack. It means you cannot sidestep it. However, if it is a high, you can still duck it. If it's a low, you can still jump it. And if it's a short range attack, you can still backdash out of range of it. Now, those are all the pieces, but we're not quite done with movement just yet. And that's because you might have noticed something very specific, is that you can cancel your dash into a crouch, but you can also act immediately out of a crouch, which means that you can backdash out of a crouch. So if I just want to backdash as fast as possible, and I only dash, it's kind of slow. It's a little bit faster in Tekken 8 than it was in Tekken 7 in previous games, but I can make it faster by backdashing, crouching to cancel the backdash, and then backdashing again immediately. And you can technically do the same with a forward dash, but that doesn't really matter because your forward dash just continues to run forward until you reach the opponent. Now, interestingly, you can also cancel a side step into a backdash, so you can actually go up as well. It's kind of hard to pull off, but if you're having trouble with certain characters doing the typical backdash cancel, you can try going up instead. But the way that I usually do it, and the way, if you do it perfectly, that works with any character, is you backdash, so back, neutral, back, and then you wait for the dash to finish its distance, and then you do down, back, back, neutral, back. And then you loop that part. So it's down, back, neutral, back, wait for the dash, down, back, neutral, back, wait for the dash, etc. And that's good enough for most controllers. If you're on a stick, it might be easier to add an additional whole quarter circle motion. So you would do one backdash, then you would go straight down, and then you would do a quarter circle backwards. So down, back, neutral, back, and loop that. However, that is guaranteed to be slower because you're hitting in an additional direction, and that does not work for certain characters because certain characters have a move that is performed by inputting a quarter circle back. So that is the backdash cancel. Some people call it a Korean backdash, but it's just canceling your dashes into crouches and the dashes into crouches. And that is one of the most important movement techniques that you can learn. What's important is not necessarily doing it as fast as possible, because if you do it too fast, it's actually not very good. You can see I'm doing it too fast, and he doesn't actually travel any distance. So you need to make sure your character travels a decent distance with each backdash, and then you need to make sure that as soon as you crouch, you spend as little amount of time crouching as possible and as little amount of time inputting the backdash as possible, so that you get as much distance in as little time as possible. And now I can start talking about the various ways to attack. There are 4 mandatory attack buttons, or you should probably also have a start button for your pause menu, but the 4 attack buttons are left punch, left kick, and right kick, and the community uses just 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that order to refer to those attacks. So 1 is left punch, 2 is right punch, 3 is left kick, and 4 is right kick. And as you would expect, the different directions will change the attack. So this is neutral +1, and this is down forward +1, this is back +1, and this is down +1. And you might also need to use button combinations such as 1 + 2, or 3 + 4, or 1 + 3, or 2 + 4. And you need to look at your character's move list to figure out all the different attack strings your character has. For example, with Jin, he has 1, 2, he has 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 4. This is 1, 2, 1, this is 1, 2, 3, this is 1, 2, 4. And let's just pause for a minute and take a look at 1, 2, 3. That little axe kick he does at the very end, there's no way to perform that axe kick attack without first doing the 1, 2, and then pressing 3. So I can't just, from neutral, be like, I'm going to do that axe kick now. No, I need to actually attack with my 1, 2 first, and then press 3. This is very different from 2D games like Street Fighter, where you have crouch medium kick and Hadouken, and you can just cancel the crouch medium kick into the Hadouken. You can't think of them as 2 separate parts that you can do independently. You have to think of it as one giant list of possible strings that you might perform. And now I can talk about blocking and hit types. So if you just let go of your controller, your character will block while standing, but I wouldn't advise it because there's some janky animation stuff that goes on, and you might not actually be blocking if you let go of the controller. So you should be holding back to block while standing, or you can block while crouching by holding diagonally down back. And like you would expect, you have lows, which cannot be blocked while standing, and you have mids, which cannot be blocked while crouching. However, there's a third hit type, which is called high, and high attacks will whiff versus crouching opponents and be blocked versus standing opponents. Now, those are the three main hit types. There are other hit types like unblockables, special mids, and special lows, but the vast majority of attacks are just highs, lows, or mids. And in addition to determining how you have to block them, there are also certain actions which will crush certain hit types. There are specifically high crushes and low crushes. So just crouching is a low crush. If he does a high attack, it'll just go right over my head. I am crushing his high. And if I do a low attack and he jumps, his jump will crush my low attack. But more specifically, there are several actions that can high crush or low crush. For example, this move hops into the air, so it probably will low crush. And this move ducks down really fast, so it'll probably be a high crush. Now, when you hit someone with an attack, it has the possibility of becoming a counter hit. So this is a normal hit. You see that red explosion, but this is a counter hit. See that on top of the red explosion, you get that like bright pink claw mark. That symbolizes a counter hit. And just like other fighting games, a counter hit is what happens when you hit the opponent during the startup of their attack. So if you attack first, or if your attack is faster, you'll counter hit them out of their move, and you'll get that extra effect. Counter hits deal 20% more damage, and certain attacks will gain new properties. For example, this is down 2 with Jin, but if I get a counter hit down 2, he gets knocked off his feet, and I can actually combo off of that. Not every attack will gain new properties on counter hit, and even among those attacks, not all of them will start a combo on counter hit. Sometimes you'll just get a little bit more frame advantage, or you'll get a different animation, etc, etc. Next, I'll talk about parries. Now, Jin has a unique parry, but I'm not going to be talking about that. The only parry that every character has is the low parry, which you can see at the move list at the very bottom, right here, low parry. This is Jin's parry. This is the universal low parry. If you press and hold down forward as the opponent does a low attack, then you can low parry it, which looks like this, and as you'd expect, it starts a combo. The most important thing you need to know about parries is parries only affect certain types of moves. For example, the low parry can only parry moves with the low hit type. So you have to keep in mind if it's a low, mid, or high. You also have to sometimes keep in mind if it's a left punch, left kick, or right kick. But in all of these cases, it has to be a kick or a punch. Like, this is a punch, this is a punch, this is a kick. Any tail swipes, swords, guns, knees, elbows, headbutts, or lasers cannot be parried no matter what. It has to be a punch or a kick. And now we can talk about throws. So every character can perform a basic throw with 1+3 or 2+4. And in addition, toward the bottom of your move list, you'll have an entire section called throws that goes over all of the unique throws for your character. Now, the basic throw is also a high, so you can crouch under it, although this is not true for every throw in the game. And you can break most throws by pressing 1, 2, or 1+2. And for the basic throw, it doesn't matter if you press 1 or 2, they both work. So if I press 1+3 and he presses 1, that'll break the throw. If I press 1+3 and he presses 2, that'll break the throw. If I press 2+4 and he presses 1, it also breaks the throw. And if I press 2+4 and he presses 2, it also breaks the throw. And you can see all the breaks in the move list. So this 1+3 throw, for example, says throw escape 1 or 2. Same with the 2+4 throw 1 or 2. However, you have moves down here that says, well, throw escape 2, or throw escape 1+2, or throw escape 1. So there are 3 different throw break windows, and every throw that is not one of these 2 generic throws has to be broken with either 1 or 2 or 1+2. So it's a 1 in 3 guess unless you react. And you can react because of the way their hands go out when they try to throw you. For example, if a throw is a 1 break, you'll see his left hand come out to grab. And if it's a 2 break, you'll see him reach out with his right hand. And if it's a 1+2 break, you'll see him reach out with both hands. Very rare exceptions to this, namely on King, who is a grappler who is not in the demo, so I can't show you, but he has throws with different animations than how you break them. So he is a unique case where you might want to crouch more often so that you don't have to worry about guessing wrong on which throw he is doing. Now it is possible to counter hit with a throw, and if you counter hit with a throw, the throw break window is reduced so that you no longer can react. You have to actually guess between the 3 options and press it really fast. Additionally, if you throw the opponent with any throw from the left side, it'll automatically become a different throw. It'll become this left side throw, and the way to break a left side throw is always 1. And likewise, if you're on the right side, the way to break a right side throw is always 2. And if you're behind the opponent, well, they can't break it. It's a guaranteed back throw that does a lot of damage. Also in your move list, you'll come across this icon, the red shield icon. This is a Power Crush move. This move is a Power Crush move. You can see it's a Power Crush move because he flashes white for a bit. During this Power Crush window, you will absorb attacks that the opponent throws at you. Like that. You'll still take a little bit of the damage from the attack, although notice there's a gray portion on my life bar now, which is important. I'll talk about that later. But your character will continue with the animation and probably punish the opponent if they attacked you during that window. Something to keep in mind is that Power Crushes don't usually start immediately. It is still possible to get counter hit out of a Power Crush if you time it too late, because their attack will hit you before the Power Crush property kicks in. The weakness to Power Crush is that you cannot Power Crush lows or throws. For example, there he hit me with a low, and there he hit me with a throw. And in addition, if you are thrown out of your Power Crush window, not only is it a counter hit throw, but you just can't break it at all. And next, we are going to talk about key charge. So if you press all 4 attack buttons at the same time, you can key charge. When you key charge, you can no longer block. So that's a downside. However, the next hit that happens is a counter hit automatically. So for example, if I key charge and then land this, it becomes a counter hit. But the same is true of the opponent. If the opponent hits you, they get a counter hit and you can't block. So most of the time, key charge is a horrible idea. But there are some characters in certain situations where you might consider going for a key charge because you might get a bonus counter hit if they don't block. But as a beginner, I would just say avoid key charge. If you see the opponent use a key charge, just know that they can't block anymore. Next, we're going to talk about rage. So when your health falls below that little notch in the bar, you enter rage mode, and during rage mode, all of your damage is increased by 10%. Additionally, you can now press down forward 1+2 to do this super move. Although the super move is punishable, and once you use it, rage is gone forever. So the main use of rage is at the end of a long combo, you can throw on an extra rage art for some bonus damage. Bam! Bagoosh! However, there is one more use for Rage Art, and that is using it as a Power Crush. The startup of your Rage Art has armor, and this armor also beats lows and throws, and the Rage Art itself breaks the armor of the opponent's Power Crush or Rage Art. Which basically, that all translates to, if the opponent does anything as you do a Rage Art, the Rage Art's probably going to work. Alright, now that we talked about Rage Art, we can start moving into the brand new stuff to Tekken 8. Namely, chip damage, or gray damage in general, and the heat system. Certain attacks, when the opponent blocks them, will deal a little bit of chip damage on block, and you can tell this happens because the opponent's character blinks red, like a reddish-orange color. Now this is real damage, but if they're low on life, they can't die to it. You cannot finish the opponent off by making them block a move like this. Additionally, as you saw earlier, if you Power Crush through the opponent's attack, you still take damage, but it's all gray damage. And if you do a juggle combo, the damage you deal during the juggle is also partially converted into gray damage. So okay, what is this gray damage? Well, it is potentially recoverable damage. So he has gray life now, and if he attacks me, a portion of his gray life is healed. That includes on hit and block. He'll slowly start healing back the damage I've dealt to him. So this mechanic is trying to reward a more aggressive playstyle where you attack more often, which also rewards a highly evasive playstyle that doesn't block very much. They sidestep, or they backdash, or they duck, or they do some sort of crushing move. And with that, we can start talking about the heat system. So there are 4 heat-related terms besides heat mode. You have the heat burst, the heat engager, the heat smash, and the heat dash. Those first 2 are ways of entering heat mode, and the second 2 are ways of exiting heat mode. So in between those 2 things, you'll have the various benefits of heat mode. So let's talk about heat burst. This is performed by pressing 2+3. This is a plus on hit and plus on block move. You can't combo after it by itself, although if you use it in a juggle, then you can combo after it. Additionally, you can sort of fake the opponent out by canceling it. By inputting a backdash during the startup, you'll cancel the move and you'll just enter heat mode without attacking. The other way to enter heat mode is with a heat engager, and these are noted in the command list with that little purple and blue icon. That's a heat engager. If you hit with a heat engager, this happens and you enter heat mode. It does not do this on block or whiff, only on hit. Additionally, if you activate heat with a heat engager, you recover all of your gray damage, and you get a 50% bonus to your heat timer. So if you enter heat with a heat engager, you get the whole timer, but if you enter heat with a heat burst, 1/3 of the timer is removed at the start of the heat mode. So a heat burst heat mode lasts for 10 seconds, and a heat engager heat mode lasts 15 seconds. So what happens during heat mode? Well, all of your attacks now deal chip damage when blocked. Additionally, the moves that usually deal chip damage on block get a boost to the amount of chip damage they deal on block. In addition to this, your character will get new moves as well as upgraded moves, which you can see at the top. There's a whole section called Heat Moves. So read through this to figure out exactly which moves change when you're in heat mode. And there are 3 ways to exit heat mode. The one you don't want to do is exiting heat mode by letting the timer run out, because then you don't get anything out of it. However, you can also press 2+3 to get a heat smash. This is usually a combo ender, although for a lot of characters it is a high damage low attack. Or you can end heat mode with a heat dash. The way you heat dash is you perform a heat engager while in heat mode, and then you hold forward. So for example, this move is a heat engager, but now that I'm in heat mode, I can hold forward after the move and get a heat dash. This is a combo on hit, huge frame advantage on block, and it can be used to extend juggle combos as well. And as you would expect, you can also do a combo into a heat burst to enter heat mode, and then at the end of that combo, use a heat dash to exit heat mode, or heat smash. However, because of the way damage scaling works in this game, that's usually not a good use of your heat. You want to try to maximize the amount of heat time you have and deal as much chip damage as possible during heat, because most characters have pretty good new enhanced moves during heat that they can use to really pressure the opponent. Now there's one more thing I need to mention, and that is rage arts. On hit, remove all of the recoverable life from the opponent. They remove all of it. It's all gone. All of the great life they had is turned into real damage. It's really, 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 really strong. And that's everything I wanted to cover in this video. There's a lot more to talk about. Tekken is a knowledge-heavy game. I didn't even talk about like how to get off the ground, which is very in-depth and kind of important. But this video is long enough, so that's where I'm stopping. So thank you for watching. I don't know why my camera's blurry right now. I don't know why I have a dog on my lap. Are you excited for Tekken 8? Oh, yes. Tell the people to subscribe on YouTube and Twitch, and join on YouTube, and join the Discord, and become a patron on Patreon, yeah, and watch the streams, yeah, and stay tuned for more Tekken 8 content. Yes, tell them. Don't, you're looking at me. Look at the camera. Look at the. You're heavy. There we go. Yeah. Oh, blurry doggy. Look at the camera. Yes. Aren't you excited for Tekken 8, puppy? Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, that's how you get all the viewers right there.